Hi everybody. I just wanted to make a video about the Ukrainian War and what it means to me and how strange life is, how strange fate is. Most of you know my story. You know that I ended up in the United States because of the illegal action of the narcissist. And I never regretted being in America. In fact, I think it's one of the best things that came out of the story that I have. But now, in a strange way, I'm grateful to fate for being here, because otherwise I would be there right now. And what's happening there is unbelievably horrific, because in my mind and in my heart, I believe that the Russian and Ukrainian people are one and the same. If you know medieval history, they were christened by I think it was Tsar Vladimir, and it was one land, it was Kiev Rus, and for many centuries, Russians and Ukrainians lived side by side. In my mind, there's no ethnic distinction between the two people. It's just that after the fall of the Soviet Union, the leaders, the people that were carving the map at the time, separated Ukrainians from Russians. And if you know of anything about the Russian community within New York, it's very much monolithic. At least in the 90s it was. We didn't really make a distinction between Belarusians or Ukrainians or Russians. We were all the same people. So while the people there may think of themselves as Ukrainian or Russian or Belarusian, in my mind, we're all the same. We came from the same country. And even the Ukrainian language was imposed on people in the 90s. A lot of people didn't want to even learn Ukrainian. And it just goes to show you the force of nationalism, and how divisive it can be. Because it's just a shock to me as a person that is so used to seeing the camaraderie between Ukrainians and Russians in America. It's just so shocking to see them at each other's throats now. And I haven't yet processed it fully. It's just not, it's kind of surreal to even read the news in America. And I feel a kind of possessiveness, because American journalists are so certain of the distinctions between Ukraine and Russia. And it angers me because they don't understand how close we are. And I've reached out to family there. I'm going to support my mother's side financially. My father's side, I've decided not to do that, not to reach out to them, because they've treated me as a enemy. So there's no reason for me to be the bigger person in this situation. because it's happened so many times that I've tried to reach out to them and they've snubbed me. So unfortunately, they're going to have to lie in the bed that they made for themselves. And it's just a twist of fate that even though I lost my entire inheritance to them, right now they have a bigger problem than me. And it doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel better to know that they're suffering, because I'm not a pathological person. But it's just strange how fate put them in their place, essentially. You know, I hope for nothing but peace in that area, and I hope that the war will end tomorrow, because it's just, even the Russian soldiers that were captured said that they didn't know anything of the invasion, and I believe it, because I think that it's really Putin and the generals that are forcing these people to war, and it's a very horrible predicament to be in. And what most people don't know is that the Russian army is not all voluntary. You have 1 year of obligatory service in the Russian army, and if you evade that service, you're thrown into prison. So a lot of these people are extremely young, these soldiers, they're in their 20s, early 20s, they know nothing about life, and to be forced into a war like this, I just can't imagine how they must feel. It's just something that's unthinkable. We still talk about Vietnam to this day, but imagine being like 20 years old and being forced into this war and it not even being considered an issue. And it probably won't be an issue because of the nature of the Russian culture. You know, Russians, they don't complain as much as Americans do. They don't fight for their rights as much as Americans do. They have a very stoic culture that to complain is bad, even if you're complaining about something that is legitimate, that should be called into question. So it's very, very, very difficult for me to even watch the news, because it's my people, you know. It's my people that are being torn into pieces, and it angers me because it's just Orwellian. It really is. Yesterday we were brothers, you know, yesterday we were part of the Soviet Union and fighting against the German Nazi occupation. And now, all of a sudden, just because somebody carved out areas on a map, we're Ukrainian, we're Russian, you know, we're no longer fighting the Nazi occupier. It's just absurd. And nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about how many people, I mean, the great-grandfathers of these soldiers, the grandfathers of these soldiers, liberated Europe, for God's sakes. And now they're fighting one another. It's hard to believe, and it just goes to show you how disgusting the psychopathic machinery is. That the media is forcing this kind of presentation of things. People aren't important. What's important is territory, the flag, the world leaders that are creating this conflict. And ultimately, I want Ukraine to prevail only because they were invaded, but there's no real winners in this battle because I feel for the Russian army. I feel for the Russian people right now because they are the ones that are suffering because of the sanctions. They are the ones that are going to experience that. The economic downturn is going to fall on them, not on Putin and his yachts and with his yachts and his cronies and his friends. It is a truly Orwellian fantasy what's being played out here. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. When you think that life has you down, in my personal situation, life really has you up because I can't imagine being there right now. I don't have the stomach to imagine being there right now and being bombed continually and hiding in my basement without food. I can't imagine how the Ukrainians that don't have relatives abroad are faring because they can't even get to a supermarket right now. They can't even, the foodstuffs that exist are flying off the shelves and there's no telling what they're going to eat tomorrow. It's just absurd. So I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna help out my mother's relatives, my father's relatives. I hope nothing happens to them, but they sure got their karma for ignoring me and treating me like a pariah. I've thought about it, and I'm sick of playing out this pathology that I have had for so many years of feeling that other people are more valuable than me. Even in wartime, I'm going to stick to my guns and I'm going to respect myself, and I'm not going to feel obligated to people that have treated me like an empty space. My conscience is like wrestling with it. And, when there was 9/11, they knew that I was possibly in the United States, but they never reached out to me. And they never cared to know if I was safe. So, it's a tit for tat situation. I really feel very, very upset that I can't reach out to them because they're going to probably find a way to blame me again anyway, because that's just the sort of people that they are. It doesn't matter how nice you are to toxic people, they will find a way to pin the blame on you, to feel sorry for themselves because you're in a better situation than them. And so, anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I hope the war ends soon because the only people suffering from it are ordinary people, not the psychopaths that have created it. I hope that Putin gets poisoned tomorrow. I really, really hate this person. He's demolishing the lives of many, many, many people. And it's a big game for him, all of this. And it's scary that there are people in the world that are like that. I will never entirely be at peace with that.